I used to think university would be a fresh start, a place where no one knew who I was, where I could finally be seen for the right reasons. Not the shy girl in the back of the class. Not the girl who dressed too modestly or laughed too loud. Just Lina. A 20-year-old with a love for marketing, a full scholarship, and a camera roll full of DIY skincare recipes. But I should have known better. The truth is, some people don't need a reason to break you. They just do. It started small. A side comment here. A laugh there. I thought I was imagining things. Until one night, I posted a simple story, me, in my tiny dorm bathroom, holding up a homemade turmeric face mask and giggling at the stains it left on my hoodie. #GoldenGlow, I captioned it. The next morning, my phone exploded. Hundreds of notifications. Comments like, "Maybe try glowing up your grades instead, loser." "Lina the witch is back with her potions." "Guess Hogwarts rejected her Two-Face with tears of joy." But that wasn't the worst part. Someone had screen recorded the video, edited it into a humiliating remix with slow-motion replays, ugly filters, and posted it on a student meme page followed by nearly the entire campus. Within hours, it was everywhere. My face. My voice. My smile, all twisted into a joke. I stopped going to class. My roommate, who I thought was my friend, stopped talking to me altogether. I didn't eat. I didn't sleep. I didn't even open the curtains. I just scrolled. Over and over. Reading every comment. Watching the view count rise like it was charting the death of my dignity. But one comment stood out. It was from someone anonymous. It said, "This is what happens when you try too hard to be someone you're not." And I don't know why, but that broke me more than anything. Because I wasn't trying to be someone else. I was finally trying to be me. But that didn't matter. Not to them. Not to the girl I thought was my friend, who I'd later find out shared the video in the first place. Not to the crowd who laughed at me in the cafeteria, or the boy who slid into my DMs with a fake apology just to screenshot my reply and post it with the caption, "Desperate much?" I deleted every app. I threw my ring light in the trash. I told my professors I had the flu, then stopped replying altogether. I wanted to disappear. And for a while, I did. But something unexpected happened in that silence. I found something else. A blank page. And a reason to fill it. The days that followed felt like a long winter, even though it was technically spring. I stayed inside my dorm room, the walls closing in, my laptop screen glowing like a ghost I didn't want to face. But eventually, silence becomes unbearable too. So I did the only thing I knew how to do. I opened a new document and started writing. Not for anyone else. Just for me. It began with a sentence. Then a paragraph. Then 3 straight pages, pouring out everything I had held in, not just the bullying, but the loneliness, the humiliation, the shame I didn't deserve to carry. I didn't have a grand plan. I wasn't trying to go viral or fight back with fire. I just wanted my story to exist. Somewhere. Anywhere. Even if it was just a Word doc named Untitled. But as the days passed, I began to see something new in that draft. Power. Because for the first time, I controlled the narrative. And that feeling, even in its smallest form, started to heal me. I began journaling every day. Not just my emotions, but my ideas. My dreams. My strategy. Yes, strategy. Because I realized something that changed everything. If they could weaponize the internet to destroy me, I could use the same tools to rebuild. But on my terms. So I made a list. 1. Reclaim my story. 2. Create something of value. 3. Turn pain into power. I reactivated my accounts, but not to post selfies or trend-chasing content. Instead, I started a new page. Anonymous. Clean. No name, no face. Just one message. Skin deep, for every girl who was told she wasn't enough. I began uploading skincare tutorials again, the same homemade recipes I'd always loved. But this time I paired them with something more: stories. My stories. Other people's stories. About bullying, self-worth, reclaiming confidence. I didn't show my face. I didn't need to. The words were louder than any image. And people listened. At first, a few followers. Then dozens. Then hundreds. And the comments were different now. I needed this today. Finally, someone real. This saved me. Each message stitched together the parts of me that had been torn apart. I wasn't trying to be an influencer. I was trying to be a voice. A voice I wish I had when everything fell apart. And slowly, that voice was growing louder. Little did I know, the ones who tried to silence me were about to hear me everywhere. It was a Thursday night when everything changed. I had just hit 50,000 followers on Skin Deep. My inbox was full of collaboration requests, messages from teenage girls thanking me, and even one from a journalist asking for an interview. But they didn't know it was me. They didn't know the person behind the words, behind the healing masks and midnight reflections, was the same girl they laughed at in lecture halls. The same girl they voted off the group project because she was too much. I stared at my reflection in the mirror. Same eyes. Same freckles. Same scars they tried to magnify. But something was different now. Me. I wasn't hiding anymore. So I posted a photo, the first real one. No filters. No dramatic lighting. Just me in my kitchen, mixing turmeric and honey in a glass bowl. My caption was simple. You've heard my voice. It's time you saw my face. Hi. I'm Amari. And I'm still here. Within minutes, the post exploded. Support. Shock. A few apologies. Some trolls, but far fewer than before. And then, silence from them. My former classmates. The ones who had turned me into a meme. The ones who posted my lowest moment like it was entertainment. Until one of them broke the silence. Maya. The girl who once captioned a group photo with, "Guess which one's the charity case winking face." She commented. Wow, didn't know you had it in you. No apology. No regret. Just ego, barely veiled. So I did something that surprised even me, I replied. I did. You just didn't want to see it. That reply alone got 30,000 likes. Something had shifted. Not just online, in me. I had gone from invisible to undeniable. And when a skincare brand reached out for a sponsorship deal, the same brand Maya had been tagging for months in desperate collabs, I said yes. Not because I needed validation. But because I knew exactly what I would do with that platform. I launched a campaign called #MoreThanSkin, where real girls shared real stories behind their beauty. It wasn't about trends. It wasn't about revenge. It was about creating the thing I never had. A safe place. A mirror that spoke truth. And slowly, the girl they once mocked became the girl they tried to copy. They even asked me to speak at the university's Women in Business panel. I said yes. But not for them. For the girls in the audience who still sit in silence, wondering if their voice matters. Because it does. And because I'm not finished speaking yet. The first time I walked into the influencer networking event, I could feel the stares. Not the mocking ones I once feared, but curious, calculating, almost admiring. People had heard of me now. Not because I was flashy. Not because I had $1 million brand deal. But because I was real. And that had become rare. I wore a mustard yellow suit I bought secondhand, tailored it myself, and paired it with sneakers that still had traces of turmeric on the soles. I didn't wear makeup that day, only moisturizer and courage. A woman from a major beauty conglomerate approached me. She introduced herself with the confident glide of someone who rarely hears no. "We've been following your growth," she said. "We love your authenticity. Would you be open to a collaboration?" My old self would have nodded eagerly, grateful just to be noticed. But now? I asked questions. I demanded to know if their products were cruelty-free, if they had diverse teams, if they supported mental health initiatives beyond token campaigns. She blinked. Smiled. Hesitated. "We're working on all of that." I smiled too. "I'll wait until you finish." That night, I sat in my apartment with the soft hum of city noise outside and a cup of ginger tea in my hand. I scrolled through the messages pouring into Skin Deep's inbox. One stood out. "I used to hate my skin. Now I use your recipes with my little sister. Thank you for giving us rituals instead of routines." I cried. Not because I was sad. But because it finally hit me. I hadn't just survived. I had built something from my survival. Something I owned. Something no one could leak, steal, or shame me for. Even the professor who once looked through me in class had reposted one of my videos with the caption, "Proud of our alumna. Resilience at its finest." Funny how silence turns to applause when they think it benefits them. Still, I wasn't bitter. Because for the first time in my life, my worth wasn't measured by their approval. It was measured in the quiet power of waking up and choosing myself, over and over again. That power didn't come from fame. It came from the nights I almost quit but didn't. The mornings I wore hope like concealer and walked into a world that hadn't made space for me, yet. Now, I was creating that space. Not just for me, but for others like me. The unseen. The laughed at. The too much and not enough girls. They were watching. And I was just getting started. The day my face appeared on a Times Square billboard, I didn't cry. Not because it wasn't emotional, it was. But I had shed enough tears in private. This moment wasn't about release. It was about arrival. The campaign was small compared to the giants around it. Just a still image of me holding a jar of turmeric honey balm, smiling gently, my curls tied up in a head wrap I designed myself. No filters. No gloss. Just truth. Below, the tagline read, "She didn't cover the scars. She taught us how to heal." I stood across the street, coffee in hand, watching strangers pause to read it. Some took photos. A woman pointed it out to her teenage daughter. They smiled at each other. Then at me. I turned and walked away. That was all I needed. In the months that followed, Skin Deep expanded. We partnered with small ethical farms, held community workshops, and launched a scholarship for underrepresented students in chemistry and herbal sciences. I hired a team, mostly women like me, who knew how it felt to be doubted. One day, an email slid into my inbox. From Naomi, social media manager, Glow and Grace Beauty. Subject, collaboration inquiry. I laughed out loud. Glow and Grace. The same brand whose interns once shared my leaked skincare diary as a joke. The same company that profited off the same formulas I had been bullied for. I clicked reply. Hi Naomi. Thank you for reaching out. Unfortunately, we don't collaborate with brands that built their empires on silence and shame. Kindly refer to our ethics and integrity policy. Best. Lina. That night, I shared a post titled, Growth isn't about becoming palatable to the people who hurt you. It's about becoming undeniable. It went viral in hours. I stopped trying to silence the past. I let it echo, softly, steadily, behind the words I shared. My followers weren't just supporters anymore. They were mirrors. Each message I received reminded me that I wasn't alone. That maybe I never had been. At our first live event, a girl stepped up to the mic shy, shaking, but brave. I just wanted to say, "You saved my life." I walked down from the stage. Hugged her. Felt her tears on my shoulder. "No," I whispered. "You saved your own." I just held up the light. And in that moment, surrounded by hundreds of people who once felt invisible, I knew. My story wasn't just mine anymore. It was a map. And they were already walking it.